Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Monrovia City Council recap for the meeting July 21st, 2026. We are very excited to be here. My name is Julie Bank, and with me is...
Bayan Massoudi.
And we are your recap hosts for this meeting.
We certainly are.
This meeting was actually about an hour long. So we are going to tell you everything that happened in this meeting, but it was kind of nice and exciting and not too long.
It was short and sweet.
It's short and
sweet.
Let's put it
that
that's
way.
Right.
Short and sweet.
And by the way, the whole purpose of these recaps is so that you can get really a summary of what's happening within the City Council. We do encourage you to always look and go to the City Council meetings. They are very interesting and a lot of fun. But at this recap, we're going to give you an understanding of what happened in a snapshot. The other thing we want to tell you is you too could be sitting at this table.
Ooh.
We are looking for more people. As always, we're looking for more people to be part of the recap. And if you're interested, just reach out to KGEM. It's a lot of fun, right? You're fairly new in doing this?
I'm fairly new in doing this particular show. I have done 8 TV shows in the past across Australia and the United States.
That's the accent. We just met, and I was thinking what the accent was.
Yes, I have done 8 TV shows and a documentary, but this, at KGEM-TV, this is my first TV show with KGEM in collaboration with these guys.
And what made you get involved in this show?
In this particular show, look, they said they were looking for an Australian reality TV personality who was fantastic on camera and could liven up the show. And I said, well, that just happens to be me. So, you know, it was just a match made in heaven.
Hey, by the way, I'm a little lively too, so we'll be a good partner.
Nobody wants a snooze fest.
Nobody wants a snooze fest. And that brings us to the City Council meeting, doesn't it?
Hey, what are you implying by that?
I'm not implying anything. All right, the City Council meeting started at 7:34 p.m. And if you're on the screen looking at it on YouTube, you're going to find it about 4 minutes and 35 seconds in. And it opened in honor of Elliot Emerson Leos. And Elliot is the son of a friend of mine, Gio Leos, and he is joining brother Oakley Leos, and it's a beautiful family, so congratulations to the Leos family. We're so happy that Elliot is here.
Was this before or after the invocation?
This was before the invocation.
Okay, cool.
Yes, but it was after roll call.
Okay.
So I do want to say all of the City Council folks were there except for one. We had Dr. Kelly was excused, so she was the only one that wasn't part of that. And then it goes to the invocation. And I know Barbara Golar talked about the invocation. She did some reflections on America's 250th year birthday, but you wanted to say some things about that.
Yeah, no, like it was a lovely invocation, and shout out to my homegirl Barbara. Great job on the invocation. It was lovely and enjoyable. It was great seeing you there doing that. Barbara's a personal friend of mine, so shout out to you, Barbara.
And Barbara, we missed you at this table because I always have lots of fun when you're here as well. We also
hopefully I can fill those big shoes of Barbara's.
Absolutely. I don't know. I don't think either one of us, both of us have to fill Barbara's shoes for sure.
We'll try our best.
But we also had, the pledge was given by Councilmember Belden. And always nice to see Edward as well there. And then we jumped into the city attorney who talked about closed session, and really there was no reportable action. The presentations, PR1 started, and as I always say, my favorite presentation is the presentation from Kevin at the Pasadena Humane Society, or actually it's called Pasadena Humane now. The society was dropped. We had Ella, who was a 5-year-old German Shepherd there. Ella loves people, other dogs, and lots of snuggles. And as part of the Senior for Seniors program, which means you can get either a free or a discounted adoptions. And they also did talk about a whole bunch of sponsored adoption programs. And you were saying before about one exciting one with the soccer team coming.
Yeah. I mean, before I get to the soccer team, they had a program about 3 or 4 weeks ago where they give people the opportunity to come and adopt some of the dogs. Ella was one of the ones that wasn't adopted.
That was sad.
So she unfortunately didn't find a home at that particular occasion. So that's why we're coming back for round 2. So Ella's available. So if anyone wants to adopt her, she is looking for a home. And it was very, very cute to see the council all coming down to the floor to meet with Ella and give her some pats and give her some hugs and kisses and pose for yet another photo with her, which I found quite amusing and endearing at the same time. Yeah. So you were talking about the LA Football Club.
Yeah.
So I think at the adoption facility, they were talking about how the LA Football Club has an event where they're coming out to the to that facility, and they're going to be posing with people for autographs, doing a meet and greet, signing for some autographs and taking pictures and that kind of stuff. So I don't know the specific details. I didn't catch those. If you have a date,
I didn't catch
you
the
didn't
date
catch the
either,
date on
but
that
I
either?
will tell you.
But you can look it up. I'm sure it'll be on their website
Yes,
if
and
people
they're
want to
also
find it.
sponsoring adoptions for the day, which is like, to me, the best thing. You can go out and adopt a pet, see a football player, as well as that.
So if you're a fan of LAFC, then
Yeah.
get out there on that day. That's a good day to go and check it out. Get yourself a photo, an autograph, and a dog at the same time.
Or a cat. You don't want to
Or a
forget about
cat.
those kitties, or they have critters there as well. And also a couple of other things. On July 31st, they have the hot dog summer promotion. And then finally, Kevin talked a lot about foster field trips and foster overnights. It is a perfect way for you to consider trying out an animal and seeing if it fits nicely in your home. So terrific.
Kind of like renting a DVD from Blockbuster Video.
That you're showing your age now. Some people out there don't know what Blockbuster is, but I get it. All right. So we then jumped into about 12 minutes, 40 seconds in. We jumped into the consent calendar, CC1 to CC7. There were no items on the calendar that were pulled, and it passed. Larry Spicer motioned and Edward Belden second. And if you're interested, again, you can go on the website to look at the entire agenda. The consent calendar is where they make a motion for an entire block of different issues, and unless they get pulled, it all passed there. We then went into, at 13 minutes and 10 seconds in, we went into public input. And it did start off with a public input out of order, because technically you're supposed to do those items not on the agenda first and then items on the agenda after that. But they had a public person talk about an item on the agenda, and that was the 351 Highland project that we will talk about a little bit later. But he just wanted to say thank you to the council and Bowdoin team for action, and very thankful for Monrovia's vision to protect open spaces. And then we went into a couple of other speakers, and there were speakers Sherry Lochner, speaker, fortunately I didn't get the second speaker's name, and then speaker David Pinto, I believe. And all three of those speakers talked about the ICE issue and the deaths that occurred at the hands of ICE. And the first two speakers wanted us to remember that we just wanted us to remember the names of the people who were involved and the people who lost their lives. And Mr. Pinto had the complete opposite perspective, where he felt that there was a lot less people dying at the hands of ICE and more people dying from his words, not mine, criminal illegal aliens. So what I always find interesting is how you can have two completely different perspectives. And what's nice is you can come to the city council and share them.
He probably watches Fox Propaganda Network.
I don't know. I'm not getting into that. But what I am getting into the fact that, healthy discourse, I think, is really good. It's important to hear other people's points of view, and then obviously make your point of view that you believe is the right one. And then do your civic duty. And if you have an opinion on anything, come to the city council meeting and feel free to share.
Yeah, I want to do a shout out to those two ladies at the beginning who I guess talked about the issues with ICE, and that was reflected later in the city manager's comment about the CHP and his request for Freedom of Information Act and that kind of thing. But we'll get to that in due course. But certainly those two ladies that come to every council meeting and talk about, I guess the injustices that they see, the social activism that they want to represent, and the listing out the names of all the victims of ICE and those who have faced not just inhumane conditions, but who've given their lives in ICE custody. It's a dark time. It's a dark period. It's a difficult scenario to go through, and I'm looking forward to the time that we can come out of this tunnel. But yeah, props to those two ladies for standing fast and speaking their truths.
Yeah, and also they mentioned that there will be a vigil on August 15th at the Home Depot if you'd like to attend to just be part of the conversation. for sure.
Funnily enough, as an interesting side note, one of the TV shows that I do is about political debate.
Ah, good.
It's called Surrounded. So these kind of topics are right up my alley. So
Terrific.
if anyone wants to check me out on YouTube on the Surrounded TV show, you'll find me on one of those shows.
Cool. Well, 26 minutes in, we had Russell Hollenhurst come, and he talked he represented the Monrovia Chamber of Commerce, and he said that they had a couple of really great events where they met new members. He also read the names of some of the new members. It's always cool to see that there's new people joining the chamber and helping our downtown and helping our businesses. He also talked about a couple of events. There's a mixer coming up. MAFA, the Monrovia Fine Arts Association, is partnering with the Chamber on Monday, July 27th for a paint and sip. That will be a fun night. And then he said that you can go on monrovia.cc.com to learn more about all the different upcoming events. And if you have a business in town, maybe consider joining the Chamber as well.
Yeah, no, it was good to have him come on board and talk about the members that have newly renewed or are new to the Chamber of Commerce. That was good that he listed out those businesses and talked about those events that are coming up. I would love to attend one of those events and get involved with the Chamber of Commerce.
The public is open. If you want to go, just go to their website and learn more, and it would be great.
Yeah.
They jumped right into the reports, and the reports from the city manager started at 27 minutes, 32 seconds. And Dylan Feek, our city manager, just talked about a couple of things. You referenced this earlier, but he wanted to remind everybody that they are still trying to get the public records from the Highway Patrol about ICE deaths, and that they have received an extension request from California Highway Patrol. There was a whole conversation about when is it going to be enough is enough, and when are they going to be able to go and say, we're going to take action if you don't give us the reports. The city attorney did say that he is getting constant communication with them, which is very different than no communication. So that's good, but they will continue to evaluate it. And right now it is a 30 days extension, and they're going to bring it back on the agenda for the September meeting.
I mean, that's great that they are openly communicating, but openly communicating and not providing the information that is requested of them are two very different things. So if they keep kicking the can down the road, which it seems to be the case, because I know it's been, many, many months now that they've put forward this request for information, right? I imagine.
It's been many, many months, but
many months.
The good thing is that our city council and our mayor are not letting it go.
Yes.
And that it is continuously being brought up in our board meetings. And again, you can go and you can express your concerns. And hopefully soon we will either get the info or the city will decide to take action. And
and there has to be some escalation process.
Yeah.
And it seems like Councillor Belden did kind of point that out very marginally. He said something along the lines of, hey, if we're emailing these guys and they're not responding back to us, well, why don't we involve other sections? Let's CC the governor and the Justice Department, all and sundry. Let's CC some other people
to that they are doing that as part of the
draw
process.
extra eyes onto this situation, so that I guess additional third parties can exert some additional pressure, if possible, on the CHP, and that's a very appropriate thing for him to do. So. Good suggestion.
Yep. We also went to, he also mentioned that the city released an RFP for the East Cyprus program. And he also spoke about the community center project, completed the plan check, and the next step is to prep documents for the RFP. That's been going on a long time, so I'm really excited that this is moving and getting to the point where we can have the RFP and hopefully start construction soon. He also talked about the fact that they are working on a bond issue for 2026, and that's all going to be part of the facility repairs and upgrades. He spoke about the city and the school district are getting together to schedule a meeting for a shared business lunch and some team building, which was interesting that they were talking about team building, because there's a lot of team building that needs to happen. And then he also talked about the next council meeting is going to be on August 4th at 5 p.m., but it's also the same night as National Night Out, which is an event put on by the police department. They're encouraging everybody to come to National Night Out. So they're going to have the board meeting at 5 instead of 7 so that everybody can go to the National Night Out, and they're encouraging the community to come too.
Forgive my lack of awareness of this National Night Out. What is that?
So that is a national event that happens with police departments all over the country, and they basically do a fun opportunity for you to get to know the police department. So they'll bring out the cars, and they'll bring out all the swag, and they'll bring out people, and it's fun activities, and it's really an opportunity to learn about Neighborhood Watch and to learn about what your police department does and all of that kind of jazz.
Is it at the police department? Like
I don't know. I'm not sure where it's going to be, but I think it might be at Library Park.
Oh, right.
But I'm making that up, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
We can find that out and certainly let you know.
Sounds
for
fun.
sure. But it's a fun night. It's a night to come out with families, and it starts at 5, so the kiddos aren't quite in bed yet. You know, you can come on out and do it. It will be a lot of fun. We then went into the city council reports, and that was at 32 minutes, 49 seconds in. And there wasn't a whole lot of report. I think the summer is kind of blah. I don't know. It's a little blah happening in the summer. But
people are chilling. People are having fun.
They're chilling and having barbecues. But you can invite your city council members to have barbecues too. You know, then they can report your barbecue at a city council meeting.
That you can.
Just kidding. All right, so Larry Spicer did not have a report. Edward Belden did not have a report. Mayor Pro Tem Sergio Jimenez did talk. I loved what he said, but I wasn't quite sure where he was going with it. He was just talking about family and how Monrovia really gives you a family vibe, and that we had some new police officers sworn in, and we saw their family, and it's just all about creating an opportunity for us to gather and engage and feel like family. So I loved your sentiment, Sergio. I thought that was really terrific. But it really, we'll all be family and friends, hopefully. All right. And then Mayor Shevlin, she had a couple of things that she went to. So she went to the coffee social at the Chamber. She went to the San Gabriel Valley Water District event. She talked about the 4th of July celebration, which seems like forever ago, but she didn't have the opportunity to talk about it. She talked about the second watch party for the
soccer.
The soccer. And then she also is about to go to the JPIA insurance meeting, which sounds very exciting, and a transportation conference in Washington, D.C. So she's been busy.
That 4th of July event was fantastic.
Is that your first 4th of July event that you've...
It is,
yes,
actually,
it is pretty amazing. It was the first
It was really,
one...
really cool.
I just hit my 10-year anniversary living in Monrovia, and it was the first one I missed. I was really
bummed.
You
missed this one?
I missed this one.
It was
really
a good
bummed.
one.
Yeah.
It was a good one.
Very bummed,
Really,
but
really good.
We'll be back next year.
The watch party for the soccer was also very, very good, except it was really, really hot that day, and there was no shade.
Yeah.
And the crowds were just sweltering. So that was my only gripe with that. But other than that, it was really, really good. And props to the city of Monrovia for putting on such fantastic events for its jurisdiction.
And I would tell you, the community services commissioners and the community service department, not only do they put on fantastic events, but they're creative. Like, I don't know any other city around us that had a watch party. They were quick and on it, and people came out, and I think that's a testament to how not only creative, but how awesome they are, and how awesome the department is. Shout out Rebecca for running a great department. All right, they also talked about some ribbon cuttings coming up that happened for home care for seniors. And then, of course, it's back to school. School is happening, like, right around the corner. I can't believe it. My son is going to college, and he moves in on August 16th, which is 3 weeks from now, which is crazy. And then high school and junior high school and elementary school, all back to school. Lots
Sooner
to
the
do.
better.
Oh, no.
Can't wait to get the kids out of the house.
I want to keep my son home for as long as I can keep him at home. I'm not kicking him out.
I have little terrors.
He's running. He's running out. All right. So then at 37 minutes in, we went to the one and only administrative report, AR1. And AR1 was all about, well, before I say that, the mayor reclused herself because she has some business with Bowdoin Development. so decided to not be part of this conversation or the vote, and she turned the meeting over to Mayor Pro Tem Jimenez. And this was all about purchasing the property at 347 North Highland Place. And the issue on the agenda was that they wanted a vote to get authorization to submit a letter of intent to purchase the property. So I wrote down a bunch of facts, but there was a great presentation by Dylan. You can go on and learn about them. But here are some of the facts that I wrote down. First of all, the property is 7.8 acres, and it's by the Big M. If any of you know where the Big M sign is, that's where it is. That there was a development proposal in 2019 to build 3 large homes, and that you could see the progress of all this on the city website at the Development Spotlight website. Apparently, there's a section on the website that you can learn all about development within the city. That they are at a point where they're going to be doing a public hearing and an environmental review, that they want to purchase the property, and that they want to purchase it for $2 million. And there are things that they're thinking about. They're going to waive permit fees. They're going to arrange for Athens to provide bins. And then the city is going to do a title report and study. And then the seller agrees to no encumbrances, demolishing and removing structures, removing K-rails, leaving it in its natural state, and leaving existed pavement for the pavement stuff. There was a whole bunch of information in here about how they're going to pay for it. They talked about a couple of funds that are set aside specifically for this purpose that they had available. And that they really were just asking, they had done a lot of research, and they were asking for the city council's agreement to do this. They did have one public comment after the one earlier, which was Todd Bowden, who thanked Dylan for being a good partner in negotiation. And ultimately, Larry Spicer motioned and Edward Belden second, as long as there was any follow-up or changes that would happen, isn't any follow-up or changes that have to happen with the title report. They were all in favor, and they agreed to purchase this. So let's just take a second to talk about why they want to purchase this.
That is a good question, and that was a question I wanted to ask as well.
So
because what is this property? Where is it? What's the deal with this
property? And you can learn more about it by looking at it, because he did go over that in the report. But it is all about trying to preserve open spaces. So this property is close to the Hillside Wilderness Preserve, which is one of our great open spaces that we have. And rather than having it be development, they wanted to have more open space. So this is going to open.
What is there now? What is on this land now? Is it just
there's houses?
Open? So there are houses.
Yes, on this land there is a house.
The opposite of open space.
The opposite of open space. So this is near the Hillside Wilderness Preserve, and that is going to allow them to add 7.8 acres of open space.
So are they planning to demolish these houses?
Correct. And that is part of the agreement that's going to happen.
Are these houses like old and run-down houses, or are they livable houses?
I don't know. I haven't seen them, but you can go on the website and see the whole production there. But there's houses. There's like a barn or something, or a garage, and then there's like some back house. But it does help us preserve open spaces, which, there's just never enough open spaces, in my opinion, and opportunity for people to actually enjoy them. And they're buying it for $2 million.
Right. There's a lot of open space in this country. Why do we need to add more open space?
Oh, interesting that you say that. There is not a lot of open space in this country. There needs to be, in my opinion, a whole lot more of open space in this country.
Define open space.
Open space are spaces that are not about putting up houses or putting up industrial things. They're spaces that the public gets to enjoy, gets to be outdoors, the wildlife and the flora and fauna get to grow. It's opportunities to have space that we can go out and enjoy nature and not necessarily have to worry about development.
Okay.
That's a whole nother debate for a whole nother meeting,
It is an interesting debate. I'd like to know more about this, because spending $2 million for a patch of land is a lot of money to spend. $2 million. You can do a lot with $2 million. So that's interesting that we're doing that to
Well, if you want to learn
Taken
more
away
about
from
it, you can
couple of
go and
developers.
look at the go look online, and you can see the entire presentation and also the history of how they got to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the devil's in the details on this one.
Devil's in the details, although to me, any extra public space that you can have out there is a good thing.
Yeah, look, I don't have any objection with extra public space. It's good to have public space, and the more public space we have, the better. But at the cost of $2 million, I can do a lot with $2 million. So I don't know. I'd have to see
You have
the opportunity cost of this.
Yep, you have to look at the ROI, right? All right, so Becky Shevlin came back in at 1 hour and 1 minute in, and she was very happy to say that she didn't have to close the agenda in honor of somebody, because usually that means that there was a death in the community, and there wasn't, which is a good thing. So she closed the agenda. And she did remind everybody again that the next meeting will be August 4th, and that she's encouraging everybody on that night to put on their calendars the National Night Out. And this meeting ended at 8:32 p.m. As we started with, this was a really quick meeting, not a whole lot on the agenda, but they did say that the September meeting is probably going to be huge. So we do encourage you to go watch it, take a look at the agenda, find out if there's something that you're passionate about so that you can go to the city council meeting to learn more or stand up and speak. And if not, you can sign into the city council recap, where we will give you the summary of what's happening and also give some commentary as part of that as well.
And we'll make it fun.
Oh, well, hopefully we'll make it fun. Did you have fun?
I always have fun.
Yeah,
I bring the fun.
I could tell that. He brings the fun and
bring the
always
fun.
has fun. Well, it was great to work with you for the first time. I hope
too.
we get to work together again. And with that, I want to say thank you to all of you for watching, and we'll see you next time.